Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we are going to see the installation of Git. As we discussed, Git is a distributed version control systems. Git allows us to keep the track of our code. Why we need to keep the track of our code? So for example, if I have to come back on the previous version, I can easily do that with the help of Git. So version control tool help us to manage the code. So anytime we can come back on the previous code. Also, we can have a number of versions of the same code. So based on our requirement, we can switch to the different version and we can use that version. So Git is a very powerful and popular tool to manage the code. So in this video, we are going to see how to install the Git on both operating system, on Linux as well as on Windows systems. So to install a Git, we can go in the Google and we can simply say Git for Windows. So it will populate the site git-scm.com in download. So I have already, so I will cancel the download. I have kept the exe file in my D drive under my Git folder. It's an executable file .exe, so we can just double click on that and it will start the wizard. So it's under general public license. So it's a no need to pay any cost or payment. It's not proprietary. So we have to click on next. Open SSH. So keep all the default option and just click on finish. So it will install all required files. Whereas to install the Git on any CentOS on Red Hat or Ubuntu, we can simply install it. If you are working on Ubuntu, we have to run the command apt-get install and git. And if you are working on the CentOS or Red Hat, we have to do yum install git. So this is my CentOS system. So here it's CentOS 7.3. So to install on this, first I will check whether it's installed or not. So say rpm -qa grep git. So it's have a lot of other gits packages. So to check whether git is working or not, so we say git version. So git command not found, that means git is not installed. So main package is not installed, so we'll say git install, so yum install git. So it will start the installation of git. Whereas on Windows system also, installation is in progress. So it will ask to install the git. It have the one dependency, that is perl-gits. That's fine. We'll say yes. Go ahead and install the git. So in installing all the required RPMs, whereas on Windows systems also completing the git setup wizard. So we'll say finish. So installation is complete and it's a release node. We can close it. So on the both system we have installed the git. Now how we will verify the setup installed successfully? So to verify it, we'll give the same command git space version. So it says 1.8, it's installed successfully. And on Windows machine, we'll say give the same command git space version, and it says 2.14. So on both system, we have installed the git successfully. Now what next? So when we install the git, basically git is a distributed version control system. So that means if I am working on the Linux repository, it will not going to hamper my Windows repository. So user can work on any operating system from anywhere and they can maintain their own local repository. And finally, if they are working for the same project, so this code they can commit to the GitHub, that is centralized repository, and from there we can maintain the code. All right. So first we'll learn how to set up a Git environment. So by default, Git is installed. By default, Git will not have any setup. So that means no user configuration is so far we have done on this both machine. So what is user configuration means? So for example, this is my system. This desktop is my system. So I will be working. So how anyone can recognize which user is doing this activity? Let's say example, I'm working on the project A and I have written a lot of code. I have created a lot of file. Then how this code will be identified which user has been created? So for that, we need to do the global configuration, whereas we have to maintain our username and password in global configuration. So whatever the activity we'll do on these systems, so that get attached with that user. So that means if I will see the log, I can easily identify user X have did this activity because that username and their email ID get associated with that all activity which user is going to be performed. All right. So here to do that setting, first we have to run this command git config hyphen hyphen global. After that, we have to say user dot name, and here I will say username Ajay. Hit enter, and same another command will say git config hyphen hyphen global. Will say user dot email, and here I will say Ajay dot devops at hotmail.com. All right. Now I have done with this same thing. I will be working on other systems also. So here on Linux machine also, I can make the similar uh, similar setup. But here, let's say example, we'll do the setup for other users. So this two systems will help us to identify their identity by different name and email ID. So when we will be working in the projects, in that case, we'll have the advantages of two different accounts. So we'll see that how two user works on the same repository, what are the activity they are doing. So here we'll configure this system with a different user account. So we'll say git config hyphen hyphen global. Here we'll say user dot name, and here I will say name DevOps, and another will say the email ID git config hyphen hyphen global user dot name. Here we'll say Ajay dot mscit at gmail.com. All right, so I have set up two different account. These two different account help us to do our test cases. So this will help us in future labs to use these two different account. All right, so we have installed the Git on Linux as well as on Windows system, and we have set up the name and the email ID on both the systems. So what next? Next, we can create a repository and we can work on that repository. So that we'll see in the next video. Thank you.